welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive global headache we're all pretty familiar with: solid waste management. Look, we all know the system is stretched to its absolute limits, but we're going to dive into some of the truly fascinating solutions emerging right now. Everything from harnessing earthworms to deploying cutting-edge AI. To really grasp the scale we're dealing with, let's just look at the raw numbers. The World Bank is projecting that by 2050, global solid waste is going to hit a staggering 3.4 billion tons. To put that in perspective, back in 2018, we were hovering right around 2.01 billion. But honestly, the most alarming part isn't just the sheer volume, it's that at least 33% of this waste is currently mismanaged. It's not being handled safely, it's leaching into soil, it's polluting waterways, and it's taking a massive toll on public health. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The urban-rural waste divide. 2. Zero waste and reduction. 3. Low-cost composting methods. 4. AI-powered smart sorting. And 5. Closing the waste loop. Let's jump right in. Section 1. The urban-rural waste divide, a tale of two realities. Let's examine this stark geographical dichotomy because, as we know, where you live completely dictates how your waste is handled. A one-size-fits-all solution? Yeah, that just doesn't work. The data makes it crystal clear. Urban areas are absolutely suffocating under overloaded systems. They're generating about 66% of the waste, but they're bottlenecked by incredibly low sorting efficiency and rapidly filling landfills. But then you look outside the city limits, and rural areas face a completely different beast. Sure, they generate less waste per capita, and a lot of it is organic agricultural material, but they often lack even the most basic infrastructure. Only about 70.8% of rural populations even have access to collection services, and honestly, the frequency of those pickups is rarely guaranteed. So what happens? It forces communities into hazardous practices, like open burning or dumping in local waterways, literally just to get rid of it. Moving on to Section 2, Zero Waste and Reduction. Let's talk about what can be done before that waste even hits a bin. We really have to target the root cause here, which is generation. The journey to zero waste essentially follows 3 critical steps. It starts with an audit, right? Because you simply can't manage what you aren't measuring. You need to know, is your stream mostly organic? Is it heavy on packaging? Once you nail that down, you hit step 2, prioritize source reduction. And by the way, this is hands down the most cost-effective strategy in the entire waste management playbook. It means fundamentally changing habits, buying in bulk, ditching single-use plastics, so the waste is never even created. Finally, step 3 is locking composting and recycling into your daily routine to close the loop on whatever waste is inevitably left over. Now, for residential organics, there is a surprisingly simple household trick that completely neutralizes the biggest hurdle in home composting: the smell. The #1 reason people refuse to compost is that they don't want their kitchens smelling like rot. But if you just stash your food scraps in the freezer, it stops the decomposition process dead in its tracks. No odors, no fruit flies, no pests. It makes managing organic waste completely painless until you're actually ready to dump it in the compost pile. But to really drive community-wide adoption, you need a carrot. We've seen phenomenal results when municipalities actually step up and offer financial incentives. Some city councils have had huge success offering free composters, basic training, and here's the kicker, a 10% discount on waste tariffs for households that practice home composting. In one documented case, this exact strategy helped a city save around 2 million euros. They just diverted that waste away from insanely expensive landfill sites and pumped those savings right back into the community. Section 3, Low-Cost Composting Methods. Let's transition into how we process all this biodegradable waste at scale, since it totally dominates both urban and rural streams. When you systematically review low-cost biological options, 3 main heavyweights emerge. You've got Takakura composting, which is essentially the high-speed hero for space-constrained urban environments. It breaks down waste in just 10 to 14 days and slashes the volume by up to 50%. Then there's windrow composting. This is your go-to for large-scale municipal sites, but it's a slower burn, taking 45 to 90 days, and it requires massive land buffers to deal with greenhouse gas emissions. Finally, we have vermicomposting, utilizing earthworms. It takes about 45 to 60 days and demands really strict temperature control, making it a bit finicky, but it's an absolute powerhouse for agricultural and rural settings. And the crucial thing to understand about vermicomposting is the sheer economic payoff. Those earthworms are digesting organic waste and churning out castings that are unbelievably rich in plant nutrients. They protect crops from disease and drastically reduce the need for synthetic pesticides.
Out of the three methods, this yields the highest economic value by far, generating premium fertilizer worth around $8.50 per ton. You are literally turning rural trash into treasure. All right, Section 4, AI-powered smart sorting. We've got biological solutions for organics handled, but what about the massive, chaotic influx of mixed recyclables in centralized smart cities? This is where we have to make a major technological pivot. Urban waste systems suffer from notoriously low sorting efficiency because human sorting is slow, it's prone to error, and frankly, it's unsafe. The game changer here is utilizing advanced computer vision and deep learning to sort complex urban streams at lightning speed. To train an AI to actually do this, researchers from the University of Hull pulled together a massive dataset of over 25,000 waste images. They cleanly split the data. Just under 56% was organic waste, and about 44% was recyclable material. By feeding all of this into various machine learning models, the goal was to build a real-time, data-driven engine for automated sorting facilities. They tested a bunch of models, but one absolutely stole the show: DenseNet 121. If you're familiar with neural networks, think of its architecture like a deeply interconnected web. Instead of passing data in a straight, linear sequence, every single layer of this AI shares what it extracts with every subsequent layer. This means it can scan a mangled, dirt-covered object flying down a conveyor belt and instantly differentiate an apple core from a crumpled plastic bottle. And when they put it to the test, DenseNet 121 was incredibly robust. Statistically speaking, it hit an area under the curve of 0.98. In practical terms, it is astonishingly accurate. It vastly outperforms older, traditional machine learning models, even when those baseline models were highly optimized. Ultimately, this transfer learning approach achieved a 91% accuracy rate in automated waste sorting. It beat the best traditional classifiers by a full 20 percentage points. That is a massive leap. If we integrate this level of AI classification into smart city infrastructure, we can drastically cut landfill dependency, spike our material recovery rates, and finally automate the one process that has always bottlenecked urban recycling. Section 5, closing the waste loop. Let's pull all this together. Because treating waste is really only half the battle. Completely redefining how we value materials is the ultimate goal here. Whether you're managing temperature-controlled earthworm beds in a rural farm, or you're deploying deep neural networks in a massive smart city MRF, the end goal is exactly the same: achieving a circular economy. We absolutely have to decouple our economic growth from the relentless depletion of raw resources. A true circular economy ensures that a product's end of life is literally just the starting point of its next cycle. As the literature perfectly summarizes, solving a 3.4 billion ton waste crisis means we have to divide and conquer. You cannot just copy-paste an urban solution onto a rural problem or vice versa. We have to tailor our strategies to the actual realities on the ground, utilizing biology where it makes sense and heavy-hitting technology where it scales best. Which leaves us with this final thought. We know the terrifying scale of the global waste problem, but we've also seen the incredible innovations currently at our disposal. So, whether it's trying that freezer trick in your kitchen or advocating for AI sorting in your local infrastructure, how will you participate in closing the loop today? Thanks for tuning in to this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.